Hi, it's Celeste Majors, your canary in the coal mine. So today I wanted to tell you how I got involved in meditation and what my history of meditation has been. Because wasn't as easy for me as just sitting down and learning how to meditate. Back when I was in college, many decades ago, I remember picking up a book in the school bookstore called Autobiography of a Yogi, and it was written by Paramahansa Yogananda, and he talked about sitting with a candle flame in the lotus position with your hands in a certain way. Well, it was the 60s and everybody was doing those kinds of things in those days, so I tried it, and it didn't work real well for me, and I didn't keep it up. And then I didn't even think about that subject anymore for several decades. And finally, in 1983, I was out of college, and I had been working in a professional career in large corporations for almost 15 years by then, and I was really stressed out. I didn't know it at the time, but I was actually coming to the end of my career because I was going to choose to do elsewise than continue to work in those large corporations. And I read a book that pointed me toward yoga as a way to relieve some of my stress. So I found a local yoga class in the continuing ed department of our schools, and I started taking a yoga class. And after about 5 or 6 weeks of the yoga class, at the end of the class, she would always have us lying on our mats and going in, and she would talk us through a relaxation. And I had an experience for the first time in my life of actually having my mind go quiet. I had never had that happen before. I had the world's chatteriest mind. It was always giving me advice and criticizing me and judging me and blah, 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 blah. And there I was laying on the mat, and I went, oh, it's quiet. There's nothing going on. Well, I really liked that experience, and I wanted to continue having that. So I thought, well, I'll try seated meditation again, because in my mind, meditation is all about getting a quiet mind. Well, it wasn't going to work. That was too big of a leap for me at that point in my life. So I continued with the yoga classes, and then subsequently, a year or two later, I moved to another part of the country. And instead of picking up on yoga classes there, I picked up on a Tai Chi class. And the Tai Chi class was a certain kind of Tai Chi called Tai Chi Cha, which is a very repetitive, circular, rocking motion kind of Tai Chi. And it doesn't involve having to learn so many sequential steps. I mean, I've always admired seeing those pictures of people in China and stuff of all ages doing Tai Chi together in the morning for exercise. But when I tried to do the sequential form of Tai Chi, it involved too much remembering and too much thinking for me, whereas Tai Chi Cha, that's C-H-I-H, is simpler and it's more repetitive, and I could just get into the rhythm of it. But because I'm focusing on what I'm doing, focusing on feeling the feelings of my feet on the ground, feeling my hands going around, it kept my mind quiet. So for several years, that's my primary form of meditation, was to do that kind of exercise to quiet my mind. And then I got back to, let's try the seated meditation again. So I bought some books and tapes, and I tried to learn from books and tapes, and I was moderately successful at that. When I first sat down and started to do seated meditation, I basically had to count in order to quiet down my mind. I suppose that's a lot like in the Eastern traditions, they use mantras, and I didn't understand anything about that, so I just counted. And since as a child I played musical instruments, I counted like a musician. I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. In breath on a count of 4, out breath on a count of 4, counting all the while. And that got my mind quieted down. Then subsequently, after, I don't know, maybe even several years of that, I got to the point where I didn't need the counting anymore. If I just breathed into the count of 4 without counting and breathed out the same length of time, it pretty well quieted my mind down. And I've been pretty much using that form of meditation ever since. I just watch my breath. And I didn't know it at the time, but that is a really basic form of meditation. So after all this process, which took several years, one day I was at my doctor's office and he was a meditator, and he said, "How would you like to come to a group meditation at my place? My spiritual teacher is coming to town from LA. We were in the San Francisco area at the time. And I think you'd enjoy it." And I said, "Well, I don't know how to meditate with other people." He says, "No, come, you can do it." So I went, and I had a profound experience. I found out that way that it is actually easier to meditate in a group, especially if you have some people who are very proficient at meditating. They like hold the energy in a way that makes it easier for everybody else in the group to quiet their mind and keep their mind quiet. So after that, I continued my relationship with that spiritual teacher even to this day, although she and I don't live in the same community anymore. But I went through training with her organization in order to facilitate spiritual teaching for other people, and I've been doing this for over 30 years now, and I think meditation is a wonderful practice, and I wouldn't want to drop it out of my life. I think that had I not had meditation in my life, my stress level probably would have gone through the roof. And who knows, I might even be dead by now from something like a heart attack or something. So I think meditation for me has proven to be a very useful life skill to have in my toolbox of things I can do when I'm getting stressed out, or on a daily basis is what I really do to just keep myself balanced and level. So I just wanted to give you some hope that if you sit down to meditate for the first time and you think you're just going to do it, I tell you, it took me a lot of years before I got to the point that now I can pretty much just do it. And if I'm in a stressful situation, I can just do it and bring myself down into more peace and calm. So I just wanted to share that with you. And this is your canary in the coal mine, Celeste, wishing you wellness now and in the future.